announcing?
Today we're announcing that Bobu and I have formed an animal coalition made up of 24 of the largest wildlife groups in Australia. We're all on a single purpose, and the purpose is that we want any animal endangered or vulnerable to be excluded from native title hunting, and that includes non-Indigenous and Indigenous people. No one to hunt those animals.
What animals are we talking about?
We're talking about, well, of course, Bob and I have been on turtles and dugongs for a number of years now, and we've got nowhere, and we asked for a moratorium and we got no response. So we think that we shouldn't be selfish. We should protect all of the animals, and they include wombats, they include cassowaries, they include echidnas, goannas. There's a whole range of animals that are able to be hunted, and some of those animals are listed as endangered or vulnerable on international and Australian lists.
And who's come on board?
Well, we've got the likes of Sea Shepherd, we've got Earthrace Conservation, Pete Bethune, we've got Animals Australia, we've got the Queensland RSPCA, we've got TAS for the anti-shark finning, Wildlife Preservation Society of Australia. We've got the largest collection of animal groups in Australia, and their supporters number in the hundreds of thousands, but the people who follow them are in the millions. So we're sending a clear message to Tony Burke and to Greg Hunt in the opposition that these groups are going to watch and see how they react to our call. We've sent letters to Greg Hunt and Tony Burke and the Attorney General. They'll be going out today. Bob Irwin's sending those. We're not going to bother sending one to the Katter Party because we believe that Bob Katter is the biggest threat to wildlife in Australia himself, because he wants to shoot anything that moves.
What are you hoping to get from the feds?
We want to guarantee that any animal that's listed as endangered or vulnerable in Australia will be excluded from hunting. They have enough threats without being hunted. And we want it to be an evolving document, so if an animal goes onto it in 10, 15, 20 or 100 years, it's excluded from Indigenous hunting. We think that it's past that time. No one's starving in Australia. We believe now that no one should be hunting endangered or vulnerable animals. It's ridiculous.
Okay, yep, good to go. All right. Who's Voiceless?
Voiceless are huge. Their patrons are Hugo Weaving, Foreign Minister Bob Carr, the two reporters that run our 7:30 report. We got the cruelty laws changed. They were awarded $10,000, $5,000 each. Voiceless are huge.
How many supporters have we got?
24. 26. I gained another 2 this morning. This will be probably the most significant thing for animals in Australia in its history, if we can get them excluded, because it's ridiculous that we hunt them. And it's ridiculous any politician hasn't got the balls to say you shouldn't hunt endangered or vulnerable animals. And that's why I got these groups so easily. Everyone can see the logic. It's a no-brainer.
So this is so the purpose now is to lobby politicians ahead of the federal government.
Right up until September 14th, we'll be at it every day, and all of these groups are going to be sending their own letters in. We don't speak on behalf of them. We just have formed a coalition where they all support those two simple things, and that is to make sure that all vulnerable endangered animals are excluded from hunting by anyone. And like I said, we attacked, Campbell Newman on wanting to cull flying foxes instead of humanely moving them on. We also attacked Bob Katter when he wanted to, turn crocodiles into handbags instead of, humanely moving them to a safer location. And we support that. But we're not going to let them change the laws now because crocodiles are also on that species, but it can be hunted. They're on there, and they're also vulnerable. So it's crazy.
Yeah. So what sort of do you have any? Any staged plans or anything you're going to be doing in the next few months?
There'll be protests in London, New Zealand and Brisbane, held by Earthrace Conservation, Pete Bethune.
So, sorry, in London, New Zealand...
And in Brisbane, by the Earthrace Conservation Organisation, which is Peter Bethune.
Where are they on there? Up the top, Earthrace Conservation.
They held them for us last year, they're going to do it again this year. The first one's in July, and we've got a combined protest being planned in Canberra, probably in August. And Bob Irwin will be at that, I'll be at that, and anyone else we can raise. Sea Shepherd will be there, Earthrace will be there, anyone we can get together from this coalition.
You've got a bit of support from the state in terms of strengthening the laws on, on hunting. Yeah. So you're sort of hoping for the same thing with the feds?
Well, it's exactly what we're hoping for. We finished with the state because the state can't do any more. This issue now is a federal issue, and we're going to make sure the run up to the election, that Julia Gillard, Tony Burke, and Tony Abbott, Greg Hunt, know exactly what should be happening for wildlife. And we're going to make the point really clear. And we've got a powerful, powerful lobby. Like I said, there's millions of supporters of this mob.
How many species does it? Do you know how many species this will encompass?
Well, there's over 50 native animals that are able to be hunted.
Yeah.
The list is actually limitless because it's any animal that they hunted prior to the 1993 Mabo decision, they're able to still hunt today.
Yeah.
So it's limitless, the list, but there's over 50.
How many are endangered?
No, there's hundreds endangered and vulnerable, hundreds. Okay. But they don't necessarily, they're not every one of those animals like kangaroos, but there are wallabies. It's not every every bat. There's some of the flying foxes are endangered and vulnerable. The ones that they're trying to move on now are protected. They're protected animals, and yet we're talking about Campbell Newman. Yes, they want to kill them. There's cullers killed. Cullers are moving on.
Yeah.
So we're not going to let him go. Now I appreciate what he did for the cruelty laws, but believe me, I'll come for him like you won't believe.
Yeah.
This mob is a powerful mob. We're not a single voice anymore, Bob and I. We've got an army.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use that army to make sure that everyone in Australia is fully aware that people are able to hunt those animals, do hunt those animals, and there's no monitoring, and there's no count, there's no nothing. And by election time, I reckon I can educate most of Australia. That's the plan from this group.
So you were saying before, so we're no longer looking for that moratorium, we just want a full ban.
Yep, full ban. Total ban on any endangered or vulnerable animals. It's got to be clear though, we're not talking about all the animals they hunt. If they're sustainable, continue to hunt them. But if they're already on a protected or endangered or vulnerable list, they've already got that status, they shouldn't be hunted. That's why the reason they give them that protection. So it's a no-brainer for everybody. But our government are too gutless, and Tony Burke's too gutless, and Peter Garrett was gutless before him, to say anything. Why not?
Yeah, Bob Irwin, Wildlife and Conservation, pain in the neck. It's come to a point in time where we have to make a stand to protect our land, our rivers and our oceans, and the creatures that inhabit this planet are, a really important part of our own sort of well-being. And if we look around and see all the destruction and greed and corruption that's going on, it's just very, very scary. And if we don't make a stand now, what is the future going to be for our children's children? I want a total ban on the hunting by anybody, I don't care who it is, of all endangered and vulnerable species in this country. That's what I want. Very, very simple. And do we have the moral and ethical right to hunt these animals to extinction? I don't think so.
All right, Bob, look, is there anything more that you'd like to add?
Probably a fair bit, but probably can't go to air, I wouldn't think. I think Colin's on top of this. He's been the main driving force to get this organisation up and running, and it's very pleasing to see that most of the organisations throughout Australia have joined our coalition, and that's probably the first time in history that that's happened. So I think people are becoming aware now that whatever we do to the environment eventually affects ourselves, and it is time to take a stand.
What sort of action is planned over the next few months leading into the election?
Well, I think we'll just continue to lobby both the state and federal governments, and try to actually find a politician with the guts and determination and the understanding that our environment is really, really important to everybody.